All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to your orientation to your classes here at Happy Dog Institute. I'm Heather Ringwood,
And I'm Ashley Alden.
and we're going to be walking you through some things about what to bring to class, talking about what to expect, how to enter, and giving you some history about who we are here at Happy Dog.
Awesome. So to get started, we are located at 7924 Sweet Iron Court. Um, the building number is 109. You will see us with a very beautiful logo on the glass door. And there'll be a nice overview on the next slide of where it looks like from Google Maps. When you pull in, there should be ample parking. The only spot we ask that you don't park would be in front of anybody's bay door, just because we don't have all of those people's schedules to know when they're going to need them. Potty areas anywhere on the map that's yellow, so any of the grass or the little strip next to the parking space with like the bark there is a perfect place to go to take your dog potty. Make sure you clean up after your pup. We have a white bucket outside of the door where you can put your poop so that you don't have to drive home with it. And yeah.
Great. Once you get inside, or you've arrived at our space, we've got a main door, as Ashley mentioned, with our logo on it. That is our entry door. And you will enter through that door, and then there is a side door that we'll do exits from. So it gives us a nice one-way flow through our classroom. So if you end up taking a break in the middle of class, or you need to take your dog out to potty, you can always leave through the side door, and then you're going to enter back through the front main door. We also do that as we pass one another during class times as well, class changeover times. When you come in, you'll notice that there are 6 stations likely set up for your class, between 4 and 6. It depends on the class, but more often than not, there are 6 dogs going to be in your class. We have exercise pens set up to either create walls or define space for you to have a little station, you and your dog to have a station. We always like people to load to the back of the room forward, so there's minimizes crossover and opportunities for the dogs to kind of flirt with each other as they're coming in. And then you'll also just get settled into your space as soon as you can. There's a restroom in the back of the building, the direct opposite of the front door. So you walk in and straight to the back is going to be the restroom. Excuse me. And you can find water for yourself or for the dog, either in the restroom, or we also have a water station up front with filtered or fresh water, cold water available there. We do want to make sure that you're feeling like you have everything you need. If you have any questions at all, you forgot a mat, or you didn't have any treats to bring, you can ask one of us. We're happy to help. If you need any additional accommodations, such as, it's hard to hear us, we're happy to move and relocate. We may also choose to relocate where you sit based on how the dogs around you are contributing to either distractions or flirting opportunities. And we'll look to set you all up for success in that environment. We also might choose to utilize some covers to help set the dogs up for success in our learning environments, and add some visual barriers to help create a safe and comfortable learning environment for you and for your dog. Again, please don't hesitate to ask us if you have any questions at all along the way. The other thing that to make sure we cover is class cancellations. So if we needed to cancel a class, we will help you do a makeup session. Typically, those cancellations could occur due to extreme weather, extra heat, you know, road conditions, or an emergency. We will communicate with you at least ideally 24 hours in advance if we need to cancel a class, and we'll work with you to schedule a makeup session. If for some reason you need to miss class, you're not feeling well, or something comes up for you, we completely understand that. We have recordings available of all of our classes, so you won't miss anything. If you'll be able to watch the session and catch right back up. Okay.
All
So now
right.
we need to talk about what to bring to class.
Yeah, moving on. So, what to bring to class to set you guys up for success? We want to talk a lot about food because we use a lot of food in class. So, prepping your treats is going to be important. Ideally, if you have 3 values of treats, a high value, a medium, and a low value, that's going to give you options for if your pup is struggling to work in this environment. So typically what I recommend for a low value is going to be your dog's regular food, their kibble. If you feed raw, sometimes making it into little treat size nuggets and freezing it is a way that you could do that. Medium tends to be the kind that you can get at the store. So like the Zooks or like the stuff that's marketed as training treats, those tend to be pretty medium value. And then high value, we're looking for the good stuff. So like string cheese, hot dogs, things that are really smelly, really delicious. When we're talking about treats, it's also important to kind of consider the environment, like the temperature that you're working in. So if it's really hot outside and you have a lot of really dry biscuits or really salty treats, your dog may not be super into them. So just kind of thinking about those things when we talk about bringing food. Another important piece about treats is that our dogs have a much more developed sense of smell and probably therefore taste than we do. And so if you shove all of your treats into one bag and make it a trail mix, it's kind of all going to take on that sort of medium value rather than having your low, medium, high. So if you could keep them separated, that would be ideal. When you are doling out treats in class, it's important that you have a treat receptacle. So either a pocket, a vest, a treat pouch, something rather than having to handle your leash and maybe a clicker and also a treat bag, if that makes sense. So we don't want you to hold a treat bag while you are training. We want your treats to be on your person so that they're easy to distribute. Also, Heather and I and Paul, they're not in the orientation, but they will be teaching classes. We'll sometimes need to talk to you as a student, and your dog is just going to kind of be chilling there. And so what we want to do to set them up for success is tell them what we want them to do in those moments. Rather than stare at us and get frustrated with, why did you disengage for me? We're going to give them our work to eat stuffed food toy. So the 2 most common ones that I see are the Topple that we sell at Happy Dog and the Kong. Those are rubber toys that you can stuff with different types of food for your dog to be able to lick at and work at for a long duration of time. If your dog has never used one before, it's important to introduce them to the concept before class starts. So I like to start out with kind of easy to get treats, some kibble or some yummy treats in there that they can just kind of nuzzle around, and then maybe just smear peanut butter around the outside. And then you can work your way up to actually stuffing it full of food and freezing it. And those are going to be the way that work best for class. Any other things for the stuffed toy, Heather?
Yeah, I really like to have those stuffed toys available, as Ashley mentioned, while we're talking. And I think it's the biggest benefit that I've experienced in our classes is that if you can come, you know, get into class, get your mat out, which we'll talk about in a minute, and get that stuffed food toy out right away. Your dog can start working on that as they're settling into the space. And it's one of the best ways for our dogs to acclimate to a new class environment as well, and just have some opportunity to be focused and relaxing as we're getting started in class or in between things that we're working on.
Totally.
Yeah. There's, really leave it up to your imagination. And there are tons of, recipes available through the Westpaw website or through the Kong website. And there are, vloggers everywhere who do a lot of enrichment type stuff, food toys. So you can always look it up and find some fun things to do with your dog.
Totally. And if there's a concern that your dog is going to chew pieces off of the topple or the Kong and consume them, a really nifty trick I've been seeing lately is using a hollowed out bell pepper. And so then if
Mm,
they consume them, it's safe.
that's a great idea.
Yeah. And so with the food, there's also a couple other things we want you to bring. Like Heather mentioned, the mat. So a nice either a towel, a blanket, a mat, something for your dog to lay on in class. We're going to use that to kind of denote that this is your relaxation space, and you'll be able to hopefully take that into the world and use it as an environmental cue. Um, a water receptacle, so a bowl or one of those collapsible things, ideally. We have water available at Happy Dog. We have a cooler located in the front by the microwave and the fridge, as well as the sink water is safe for dogs to drink. So keeping that in mind. What you're going to want to bring your dog on a regular 6 to probably 6 foot leash. 4 I feel like is kind of too short, and 10 is kind of too long. So 6 is a great starter for our classes. Um, Ideally, it's going to just be a regular leash, no bungee, and definitely no retractable leashes. The space is way too small for a retractable leash. We're also going to ask that you put your dog in comfy gear. So a flat collar, a comfy martingale collar, a harness that they like that doesn't cause discomfort, and no prong collars, choke collars, or shock collars for our classes.
Perfect. Great. So now that you've kind of know what to bring to class and you've kind of gotten a glimpse of how you get there, we wanted to also kind of introduce us a little bit. So Happy Dog Institute has been in business for some time. We recently moved to the location we're in, and this will 2024 will be our fourth year in that location, or the beginning of our fourth year there. You will meet several likely in your adventures through Happy Dog. You'll be able to work with myself, Ashley, and Paul, who are all our instructors. Jody as well instructs our agility classes. And you may come in contact with Emma Holly, who's one of our owners. So myself and Emma Holly own the business. You also might see as you get experience or read our bios that we've got things after our names, right? So Ashley's going to talk a little bit about our certifications and kind of what our approach. Well, I guess I would say that our approach, the Happy Dog philosophy, if you will, to dog training is that we are a positive reinforcement based trainers. We all are certified in one way or another with positive reinforcement training, and we find it that it is the most kind and not supportive necessarily, but supportive, kind, and productive kind of training that we can do to create the best relationship between you and your dog. And that's really one of our goals, is that we want, that, happy dogs are creating happy people. And it's sort of our mantra.
Totally. So yeah, if you get an email from us, you may see some letters after our names. A couple of common ones are the CPDT, which is the Certified Pet Dog Trainer certification. It's kind of a well-known independent board that you take a little test, and not little, you take a test and you prove that you have the baseline knowledge to be able to train dogs. There's also the IAABC, which is the international International Associations of Animal Behavior Consultants. It's another sort of independent education organization that will certify and basically tell you that your professional has done their baseline education knowledge. There are a couple of other ones. Paul has the Control Unleashed certification, which is really awesome. I have my certificate in canine studies from the Northwest School of Canine Studies, as well as my Peninsula School for Dog Trainers certification. So all of these letters, we also have, Heather and I have the FDM, which is the Family Dog Mediation. And so all of those letters just mean that we are pursuing the most current, most up-to-date, most progressive way to train your dog. And the cool thing is those certifications also require us to continue and keep our education up to date. So you may see more letters get added to our names, and that just is our commitment to you to continue to offer the best possible training strategies for you and your dog.
Indeed. So the other thing that we kind of like to think about in our classes as well is really making sure that we create a positive and realistic learning environment for you and for your dog. It's a lot of the reason why we set up our classes in the way that we do, with, little defined spaces, your own private space, with barriers between dogs, and also covers if we need them. That management that we put in place in our classes, to whatever degree is needed, is something that really helps us set up a successful learning environment for your dog. Nothing is harder than when, your dog's flirting with the next dog over here, and the instructor is trying to give you some instruction about how to teach the next skill. And so we'll help you through management techniques and redirection techniques, kind of help create that environment where you feel like you can listen and hear, and your dog is also calm and really ready for a training environment. The benefit of our classes is that you get some controlled distractions to help your dogs learn and thrive in. And we've already hit on a couple things that have, tools and tricks that we use, like stuffed food toy or that relaxation station in your mat, that is going to help kind of bolster those successful learning environments for you and for your dog. The other things that we're going to be observing is your dog's body language, right? So we all, as Ashley said, have experience with dogs and have a degree of understanding body language that the dogs are doing, that you may or may not notice some subtle things, right? And so we'll be observing those things and making small adjustments to help dogs be successful. And we may make some suggestions or recommendations based on things that we're seeing. The other thing that we want to make sure, and I'm loving that we're sort of including into our classes, is this moments of decompression. Ashley said it well this week in a class I attended, and she really talked about how, training can be very exciting and create a arousing environment for our dogs, excitement, right? if we can counterbalance that and give some time for dogs to also relax and calm down, they can expect that that's something that they're going to do after an exciting adventure, right? So whether that's a sniffing walk during a break or it's some relaxation time on the mat, we're going to be talking about the importance of decompression during class. And then we're always going to recommend and suggest that you give your dog some time to decompress after class as well, knowing that there's some latent learning that could be happening after a class environment, and they need some time to kind of sleep on it, if you will, or relax into the excitement and what they learned during class. Cool.
Totally. One other thing I want to just briefly touch on is if we feel that your dog is not successful in class, we may recommend that you take a different class or go to privates first. And that's not because we think that you're a bad handler or that your dog is a bad dog. It's just that we want to make sure that we give you the best possibility for success. If we think you're going to struggle for the full 6 weeks of class, we're not going to make you do that, right? We're going to say, hey, this is probably a little too hard for you right now. Take some privates or do a different style of class and then come back to this one.
Yep, exactly. And in addition to that, if the class, where you're at in class that day is like, oh yeah, you've got that skill. One of the other things that we are going to work to do with you is to give you what I like to call in my classes challenge points, right? Ways to challenge you to kind of push your learning and push your whatever it is that you're working on to the next level during that class. So a lot of times we will throw in things that we notice about the class as a whole and start to work and add more distractions to build your skills, right? So we're looking to set you up for success in the class and in the best way for you. The last thing that we're going to talk about today and is just kind of a brief map that you're going to see here about our learning tracks here at Happy Dog. So we've got everything set up from your 8-week-old puppy all the way through to adulthood and on to our fun sporting classes or advanced manners. So we've really got all the classes available here at our facility for you to be able to take, and experience lots of different things with your dogs and to help you through their growth and development into adulthood. So we've got our puppy track that kind of gives you a roadmap on where to start and how to work through handling and working through your teenage times. We've got a manners tracks where you're starting to work with the fundamentals, our foundation skills class, and building upon that through advanced manners and into more specific walking, loose leash walking or recall type classes, onto canine good citizen or those types of certification tests. We have a nose work track that helps get dogs onto the path of competing in nose centric sports. We've got an agility track, getting you in on the path to starting into the sport of agility and moving up through competition if you'd like. And we've got a behavior modification track that helps where we can help you either with private lessons or some of our behavior specific classes such as Zesty Teens or our Chaotic Canine class to help dogs that are just maybe a little too overexcited, have a lot of energy, help you set you up for success to be able to build on those things. So we're really looking forward to having you in your class to come and into the future. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes.
Thanks.